We give few seconds. Okay. Can start in maybe 10-15 seconds. Okay, let's start. Friends, welcome to another session on enlightenment on no death. Every day we are having a different insights from different masters. And today we have a well-known master. Last few years, he's been very active giving his talks on various topics on multiple platforms, not just in UK. Even though he's based in UK, he's been giving important talks on multiple platforms. You would have heard him on Germany, PSSM Germany, and different PSSM platforms, and also on PSSM UK multiple times. And he's a regular, uh, teacher, meditation teacher who is guiding on daily meditation sessions for UK people as well. And personally, I learned a lot from Master Dinesh Shah. Thank you, sir, for accepting quickly and coming again to PSM UK platform. Just to give little bit more introduction, those who do not know about sir past, he lived as a monk. Can you believe he lived as a monk, and he's now a senior director in Delight. He was a monk for 14 years, completely outside of this, world, this, corporate world, and in an ashram, practicing meditation every day for, more than 6 hours. And he also taught meditation and philosophy, Eastern and Western, mysticism, on various topics to new monks as a Guruji in the ashram. I think, sir, if I'm not wrong, I think you have started your job, you have manifested at the age of 40,
Yes.
if I remember correct, when we discussed last time.
Yes.
So as a monk, he lived, and then to have this physical and spiritual life balanced, and he came into the normal world, and he started, and he visualized, and he manifested, as a director directly. So he has a wealth of experience in meditation and spirituality. He's also a wellness coach who promotes a healthy lifestyle. You would have heard him on our platform multiple times. And I followed one of the, tips that Sir has given on intermittent fasting, and it really helped me. He speaks on topics that help people transform their, not just the body, but also mind and also soul. So he's a complete mixture of body, mind, and soul coach. So we are so blessed to have such a senior most master in our PSM UK, and continuously his contributions are, there for PSSM, for all the PSM wings across the world. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being there, and we are looking forward to hear your topic today. Thank you.
Thank you for giving me an opportunity to join this 40-day session talking about enlightenment on no death. Shall we start today's session by a short meditation? I will play Patriji's guided meditation. And the reason I'm playing this guided meditation is that's the first guided meditation that I listened to after coming to know about Patriji. I was very, very impressed because the, the truths that he has spoken of in the guided meditation sort of resonated with the 14 years of my life as a sadhu and the experiences and the wisdom that I had acquired, they resonate completely with that. After doing that meditation, I then obviously came to know of the really great work which Patriji has done, inspiring hundreds of thousands of people globally to meditate daily. This is one of the most difficult tasks in this world. So let us start with that guided meditation. So we will do Anapanasati meditation. Let us focus all our attention on our incoming and our outgoing breath. So friends, if you've got spectacles on, please do take them off. Close your eyes, clasp your hands, fingers into fingers, cross your legs, and let us meditate. Let us focus on our breath while listening to the immortal messages from Patriji. When you become aware that your mind has wandered, please bring it back to your breath. I will now start playing the guided meditation.
आज का दिन ध्यान का दिन है और आज से होगा हर एक दिन निश्चित रूप से ध्यान का। ध्यान हम सब मिलकर आज कर रहे हैं। कृपया कोई भी आंखें न खोलें, सुखत बैठे, कोई बेचैनी नहीं, ध्यान में डूब जाएंगे मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, मग्न हो जाएंगे। ना ही कोई सोच, ना ही कोई विचार, सांस के साथ दोस्ती। बाहर से अंदर आती हुई सांस एवं अंदर से बाहर जाती हुई सांस मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों। सांस की धारा और मन की धारा, दोनों धाराएं एक हो जाएं तो ध्यान ही ध्यान। मधुर संगीत सुनेंगे हम, साथ ही साथ उच्छ्वास निश्वास के साथ कहेंगे। न कोई मंत्र है, न कोई तंत्र है मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, बस केवल सांस। सांस के साथ हम एक हो जाएंगे, सांस के साथ दोस्ती, सांस के साथ मस्ती। सांस को सांस को अपनावे। हम स्वयं भगवान हैं, परंतु भाग्यशाली बनने के लिए हमें ध्यान अभ्यास चाहिए। सांस को सांस को अपनावे। सांस को सांस को अपनावे। ज्ञानी बन जावे। सांस को अपनावे, ज्ञानी बन जावे। सांस को अपनावे, ध्यान को अपनावे। योगी कोई भी आंखें न खोले मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों। आज का दिन ध्यान का दिन है और आज से होगा हर एक दिन निश्चित रूप से ध्यान का। सांस के साथ हम स्नेह करेंगे। ध्यान को अपनावे, सांस को अपनावे। जब हम सांस के साथ एक हो जाएंगे तो मन बिल्कुल शून्य हो जाएगी। यह तो ध्यान शास्त्र है। श्वास की परीक्षा, श्वास की प्रेक्षा, ध्यान की दीक्षा। श्वास की प्रेक्षा, ध्यान की दीक्षा। श्वास की प्रेक्षा, ध्यान की दीक्षा। ध्यान दीक्षा ले लेवे, ध्यानी बन जावे। ध्यान दीक्षा ले लेवे, ध्यानी बन जावे। सांस को अपनावे, ध्यानी बन जावे। सांस को अपना। जीवन कितना मधुर है अगर ध्यान हो तो, अगर ज्ञान हो तो। जीवन कितना अंधकार है अगर ध्यान ना हो तो, अगर ज्ञान ना हो तो। मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, हमें ध्यान चाहिए, आत्मज्ञान चाहिए। ध्यान बिना ज्ञान नाही, ज्ञान बिना मुक्ति नाही। मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों, बिल्कुल नहीं, सचमुच नहीं। हम सब चाहते हैं मुक्ति और उसे पाने के लिए हमें चाहिए ज्ञान, और ज्ञान के लिए हमें चाहिए ध्यान। मन की शांति, मन की शांति, तन की स्वस्थता। खुशियों को पाले ज्ञानी बन जावे। खुशियों को पाले ज्ञानी बन जावे। मन की शांति, तन की स्वस्थता। खुशियों को पाले ज्ञानी बन जावे। हे मित्रों, हम सब ध्यानी बन जावे तो कल्याण ही कल्याण। मन की शांति और तन की स्वस्थता। मन की शांति, तन की स्वस्थता। हे मित्रों, हम सब ध्यानी बन जावे। मन की शांति, तन की स्वस्थता। हे मित्रों, हम सब ध्यानी बन जावे। ना ही कोई मंत्र, ना ही कोई तंत्र मेरे प्यारे दोस्तों। ना हम हिंदू हैं, ना मुस्लिम हैं, ना क्रिश्चियन हैं। केवल हम एक मानव और सांस के साथ जुट जाएं तो कल्याण ही कल्याण। जन्म जन्मों के राही, जन्मों से छुटकारा। छुटकारा छुटकारा जन्म जन्मों के राही जन्मों से छुटकारा आत्मा मोक्ष पाले ज्ञानी बन जावे ज्ञानी ज्ञानी
Friends, bring back your awareness to your body and your surroundings.
जन्म जन्मों के
10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You may now open your eyes. Place your fingers on your eyes for a few seconds and you may open your eyes. The topic of today's session in relation to death is enlightenment and death. A case of mistaken identification. A woman was crying and screaming. Her child, her only child, had suddenly died. Because Buddha was in the village, people said, "Don't weep, but go to this man." People say he is very compassionate. If he wishes it, the child will be revived. So don't weep, go to this Buddha. The woman came with the dead child, crying, weeping, and the whole village followed her. The whole village was affected. Buddha's disciples were affected as well. They started praying in their mind that Buddha would have compassion. If he blesses the child will be revived, resurrected. Many of the Buddha's disciples also started crying. The scene was very touching. The scene was very moving. Everyone was still. Buddha remained silent. He then looked at the dead child. Then he looked at the crying mother and he said to the mother, "Don't weep. Just do one thing and your child will be alive again. Leave this child here, go back to the village, go to every house and ask every family if someone has ever died in their family. If you find a house where no one has ever died, then beg from them something to be eaten, a piece of bread, some rice or anything, but from the house where no one has ever died. Bring that bread or that rice here and your child will be revived immediately. You go, don't waste any time." The woman became happy. She felt now the miracle was going to happen. She touched Buddha's feet and ran to the village, which was not a very big one, very few cottages, a few families. She moved from one family to another, asking, but every family said, "This is impossible. There isn't a single house, not only in this village, but all over earth. There isn't a single house where someone has never died, where people have not suffered death and the misery and the pain and the anguish that comes out of it." By and by, the woman realized that Buddha has actually played a trick. Reviving the child was impossible, but still she had a hope. She went on asking until she had gone around the whole village. Her tears dried, her hope died, but suddenly she felt a new tranquility, a serenity coming to her. She realized that whosoever is born will have to die. It is only a question of time. Someone will die sooner, someone later, but death is inevitable. She came back and touched the feet of Buddha and said to him, as people say, you really are very compassionate for people. Shankaracharya has told us in Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. He says, Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam. Iha sansare bahudustare, krupaya pare, pahi murare. Undergoing the pangs of birth again and again, passing through the throes of death again and again, lying in the mother's womb over and over again. This process of samsara is hard to cross over. So save me from it, O merciful Lord. Let's talk a little bit about reincarnation. Lord Swaminarayan says, this soul has taken birth in the 8.4 million life forms infinite times. In all the life forms that this soul has taken bodies, the soul has taken bodies of both genders, male and female. Sometimes it may have been a son to another soul, and in another life, it may be the father to that soul. All sorts of permutation and combinations have been done infinite times. Walter Semke is an occupational medicine physician practicing in San Francisco. One of the very popular books of Dr. Semke is Born Again, which features reincarnation case studies of several international celebrities, including numerous Indian personalities, ranging from Amitabh Bachchan to Jawaharlal Nehru. So in his book, he says Amitabh Bachchan was Edwin Booth, one of the greatest Shakespearean actors. His wife, Mary Devlin, has reincarnated as Jaya Bachchan. His second wife was Mary McVickers. She reincarnated as Rekha. Edwina, daughter of Edwin and Mary Devlin, reincarnated as Shweta Bachchan. And Edwin Booth and Mary McVicker's son, Edwin Jr., reincarnated as Abhishek Bachchan. So we take births over and over and over and over again. Some of us obviously have had past life regression. Past life regression is good if it will help solve some of the mysteries or issues in our current life. But the question is, how useful is it in enlightenment? Just think about it. We have had infinite lives. How many lives will you go back? And even if you are able to go back infinite lives, what will you get out of it? Isn't it far better to focus on that which will take us out of this cycle of punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam? Now let's tackle another question. What is death? In the words of Krishnamurti, death is the end of everything that we know. Our body, our mind, our work, our ambitions, the things that we have built up, the things that we want to do, the things we have not finished, the things we have been trying to finish. There is an end of all these when death comes. The question is, why do we fear death? Our fear of death is in fact the greatest, most fundamental and most deep-rooted of all our fears. We fear death because it appears to us to be a state of non-existence, a state in which we ourselves will cease to exist, or at least cease to exist as we know ourselves. Death simply takes away our whole future. So friends, death as we know it is a case of mistaken identification. What is death deeply rooted in? It is rooted in the identification with the body that I am this body. Death, if we look at it from a different perspective, death is the only certainty in life. Since our birth, the only thing that is certain is death. Everything else is uncertain or accidental. Only death is not accidental. It is an absolute certainty. There is no way to avoid it or dodge it. It will catch hold of us in the right moment at the right place. Now the question is, do we need to worry about it? No. Now let's look at it from a different perspective. Is death a calamity or is it a blessing in disguise? Bertrand Russell has said that if there were no death in the world, then there would not be any need for religion. Yes, some insight here. Without death, who was going to bother about meditation? Would we be sitting today meditating and listening to this wisdom? No. Without death, who was going to bother to know about the secret mysteries of life? One would have remained always concerned with the mundane and the worldly. Who would have turned inside? In fact, there would not have been a Gautam Buddha. So death is not a calamity, but it is a blessing in disguise. When can we be truly free from the fear of death? The fear of death will always exist in us until we truly decide to free ourselves from our self-centered illusion that we are a mortal body. Because we imagine ourselves to be this body, we are unavoidably attached to it, and therefore we fear to lose it. The fear of death exists in all living beings, be it a human, a plant, an insect, or an animal. Now let us look at what happened when Raman Maharshi had a violent fear of death. The turning point in Venkat Raman's or Raman Maharshi's life came spontaneously in mid-July 1896, when he was only 16 years old. One afternoon, the youth, for no apparent reason, was overwhelmed by a sudden, violent fear of death. It was just about 6 weeks before he left Madurai for good that a great change in his life took place. It was very sudden. He was sitting in a room on the first floor of his uncle's house. He seldom had any sickness, and on that day there was nothing wrong with his health, but a sudden and a very violent fear of death overtook him. There was nothing in his state of health to account for it, and he did not try to account for it or to find out whether there was any reason for the fear. He just felt he was going to die. He began thinking about what to do about it. At that time, it did not occur to him that he should consult a doctor or his elders or his friends. He felt that he had to solve the issue, the mystery himself, then and there. The shock of the fear of death drove his mind inwards, and he said to himself mentally, without actually framing the words, now death has come. What does it mean? What is it that is dying? The body dies. Then he at once dramatized the occurrence of death. He lay with his limbs stretched out stiff, as though rigor mortis had set in, and imitated a corpse so as to give greater reality to the inquiry. He held his breath and kept his lips tightly closed so that no sound could escape, so that neither the word I or any other word could be uttered. Then he said to himself, "This body is dead. It will be carried stiff to the burning ground and there burnt and reduced to ashes. But with the death of the body, am I dead? Is the body I? It is silent, the I is silent and inert. But I feel the full force of my personality, even the voice of I within me, apart from the body. So I am the spirit transcending the body. The body dies, but the spirit that transcends it cannot be touched by death. This means I am the deathless spirit." And this was not a dull thought. It flashed through him so vividly as living truth, which he perceived directly, almost without any thought process. The I, meaning the Chaitanya, the soul, was something very real, the only real thing about his present state, and all the conscious activity connected with his body was centered on that I. Fear of death had vanished once and for all. Absorption in the self continued unbroken from that time on for Ramana Maharshi. Other thoughts might come and go like various notes of the music, but the I continued like the fundamental Shruti note that underlies and blends with all other notes. Whether the body was engaged in talking, reading, or anything else, the I was still centered on the soul. This, friends, is the crux of spirituality. Anything that anyone is doing in this whole universe, for religion or spirituality, for enlightenment, be it visiting places of worship, places of pilgrimage, reading scriptures, observing silence, practicing meditation, being in the presence of enlightened souls, it all needs to culminate in the I remaining focused on the self and not on the body. If it doesn't, then our endeavor is still incomplete. Ramana Maharshi's teachings are all centered on self-inquiry. Who am I? So friend, death as we know it is a case of mistaken identification. Again, let's look at it from a different angle. Who dies? A man came to Gorakh and told him, "I'm thinking of committing suicide." Gorakh laughed. He said, "Go and commit suicide. But let me tell you upfront that after you commit suicide, you will be very surprised." That man was very confused. He said, "What do you mean? I came to you so that you would tell me don't commit suicide. I've been to so many sadhus, they all caution me, don't commit suicide. It is a great sin." Gorakh said, "Are you mad? No one can commit suicide. No one can even die. Dying is not possible. I warn you, do it and you will be very surprised. After committing suicide, you will discover what? The body is left behind and you are exactly as you were." So death, my friends, as we know it, is a case of mistaken identification. That is why Krishna has said, "Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya," meaning as a person casts off the worn out garments, puts on new ones, similarly the soul discards worn out bodies and takes on new ones. So when we speak about any of our possessions, we say that they are my possessions. We never say I am that possession. When we talk about, let's say, a shirt and a trouser, what do we say? That it is my shirt or my trouser. We do not say I am the shirt or I am the trouser. The question is, that is exactly what we are doing with this body. We are considering it to be ourselves. Therefore, friends, death as we know it is a case of mistaken identification. Death is of the body and not of the soul. And till we continue to identify ourselves as the body, we will continue to fear death. What does Krishna tell us about the soul? Nainam chindanti. So meaning weapons cannot cut the soul. Fire cannot burn it. Water cannot wet it. Nor can the wind dry it. Also, Buddha said, there is no birth and there is no death. There is no coming and there is no going. A French scientist, Lavoisier, declared, nothing is born and nothing dies. Although he did not practice as a Buddhist or he did not meditate, but as a scientist, he also came to the same conclusion. All of us understand, and we've seen it and we've heard it, we've observed it. We all know that the body dies and the soul doesn't die. All of us have been in our lives attended, being present, sometime or the other, attended a funeral of a close relative. It is at that time reality really hits us that our time on this planet is also limited. We actually have feelings of being dispassionate. Everyone attending the funeral feels dispassionate. But the question is, how long does the dispassionate feeling last? Within a few hours of the cremation, relatives start discussing and quarreling about inheritance. This is the shocking reality. This knowledge about death is not true knowledge. We need to know how we can manifest this knowledge in our lives. And that is why Patriji said, Dhyana bina gnana nahi, gnana bina mukti nahi. Without meditation, there is no knowledge, and without knowledge, there is no enlightenment. What we need to do is we need to bring more awareness even in our lives that after birth, death is actually approaching closer and closer every moment. When some awareness is created, we will not lose our time in trivial matters. Our priority will be to know what this life is before it ends. Who is living in me? What force? For every intelligent man and woman, this is the priority. Everything else is secondary in life. Once we become very immersed in meditation, there is another fear similar to death that some of us experience. This is not a fear of death of the physical body, but a death of the ego, death of individuality, death of duality. This is sometimes described as the dark night of the soul in mysticism. This is very well explained by Khalil Gibran when he says, it is said that before entering the sea, a river trembles with fear. The river looks back at the path she has traveled, from the peaks of the mountains, the long winding road crossing forests and villages. In front of her, she sees an ocean so vast that to enter there seems nothing more than to disappear forever. But there is no way back for the river. The river cannot go back. Nobody can go back. To go back is impossible in existence. The river needs to take the risk of entering the ocean, because only then will fear disappear. Because that's where the river will know it's not about disappearing into the ocean, but of becoming the ocean. Once we know ourselves, once we are enlightened, there is no death. Death was only in our ignorance. In our meditative consciousness, death disappears just as darkness disappears when there is light brought in. Meditation brings the light in, and death is found to be the greatest fiction. It appears only from the outside that someone is dying. From the inside, nobody has ever died. That is where our life source is. Death, as we know it, is a case of mistaken identification. As a monk for 14 years, I was blessed that I had the company of two enlightened masters. My deepest gratitude to both of them because they've helped shape my understanding of the truth. I used to ask them various questions, and I will share a couple of them today. So one of the questions I asked is, what happens to the soul when the body dies? And all of us want to know. So he said, if the soul is enlightened, it becomes one with the Brahman. It merges in the ocean. It becomes the ocean. Then he gave an example. If you have a clay pot filled with water, it is in the ocean. When the clay pot breaks, what will happen to the water? It merges with the water of the ocean. It becomes the ocean. Similarly, the soul becomes the ocean. Then he gave the same example in a slightly different way. He said, if you have a clay pot and there is space, it is empty, there is space in it. And then look all around, there is space everywhere, infinite space. So what happens to the space in the clay pot when the clay pot breaks? The space in the clay pot merges with the infinite space. Similarly, the enlightened soul merges into universal consciousness. Now, what happens to the soul who is not enlightened? So he said, our scriptures say, Ante yamati sagati. Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your instincts are at the time of death, it will determine your next rebirth. I asked another question. I said, what was your experience of enlightenment? And he said, it just happened. And I became one with the infinite. Then he explained, let us say that you have a very deep well. It is very dark in there. It has been dark in there for thousands of years. When you take a candlelight, there, the darkness disappears. It is as if darkness never existed. He said the experience was once you become enlightened, you realize you were never in bondage. So, masters, enlightenment and death, both are cases of mistaken identification. So, in the guided meditation, what did Patriji say? Do you want to become like Buddha? Do you want to become like Krishna? Do you want to become like Christ? There is only one method, and that method is meditation. He said, we are God. We are ourselves God. But to become aware, meditate. He then asked us another question. To recognize our godliness, what should we do? Should we do kirtan? Should we do puja? Should we do mantra, chanting? Or should we read spiritual scriptures? He says, no, no, no. Just by doing meditation, you recognize your godliness. So, masters, let us finish today's session by remembering Patriji's famous words, Dhyana bina gnana nahi, gnana bina mukti nahi. Without meditation, there is no knowledge, and without knowledge, there is no enlightenment. Thank you very much, masters, for listening so patiently. If you've got anything to share, please feel free to unmute yourself, and if you want to, if you are able to, also switch on your video.
Thank you, Dinesh sir. It's a very, very thought-provoking with multiple angles, you have explained. You have explained that deep-rooted ego that I am the physical body. And also you kind of clarified or maybe kind of made aware everybody that they are already aware, but it's just that, death is certain. Everything else is uncertain maybe, but death is definitely certain. What are we afraid of? So that's amazing, angle. And also death, without that there is no religion. Everywhere, all the, everybody's working for all the mundane things. And this Ramana Maharshi's immense feeling of I, the true self, that real Chaitanya, when he experimented on his own, in different ways. Amazing. It's an eye opener for all of us. And also you touched on suicide, thing where, it will be exactly same before, when you are alive and when you suicide, it's just the same. So this, it will be even more confused state when, somebody kind of trying to end their life, right? So if they are, what you say, they are ending their life in their journey in
Physical.
the middle itself. Yeah, so amazing. Thank you for giving all the wonderful things, very thought-provoking. Friends, anybody has any questions or any feedback or anything to share your viewpoints, please unmute yourself. You can raise your hands and you can talk. Sharada, if you want to.
Thank you so much, Dinesh ji. It was well structured and beautifully explained. And what Ravi sir has said. So it's like thought-provoking, and I started to think in me. And when you shared about death, we take many lifetimes, infinite lifetimes. So I got remembered of an experience with Patri sir. So in meditation, so I went into a very deep state, thinking about what the actual knowledge we have gained from the past lives, where it has gone. Actually, that's my question, which was running from few days in the past. So it's like this experience is from earlier, so long back. So when I was meditating, suddenly I saw I was shown so many pictures, a big wall filled with so many pictures, photographs, different people, different faces, and also a tree or something like that. So I was Patri sir was beside me. So I was asking Patri sir, so what are these photos went for? What are these? And he said, they are nothing but your past lives.
Wow.
So I thought these many past lives. So I thought, okay, this life photograph is also going to add in that. So I really, infinite times that we are taking birth. So I think we all have experienced death in our past lives. But what you said is, leaving the ego, leaving the identification. So that we need to, that we have to merge in the ocean. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dinesh. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
And beautiful wisdom. Thank you. Thank you, Kiran. Ravi Kiran sir.
Yes, friends. Yes, Kiranji, thank you. Next speech, Kiranji. And Sanket Master from Qatar. Thank you. Yeah, so there are some comments. Yes, anybody else wants to share your, we'll give a few more minutes. Yes, thank you, Indraji. Good, everybody is receiving well. I think it's very clear. You made it so clear that, and
Really
it's,
thought-provoking. So,
yeah, very thought-provoking and amazing.
Kavitaji.
Namaste, Master.
Namaste.
Thank you for your wonderful session. It was very nice. Just like a common thing, like what made you go to like the sannyasi kind of 14 years, and then come back to the normal life. I read about all these things. Even like Sri M, I read he was also like that, like a wandering monk in the Himalayas. Then he comes back. I just understand what is this when we take a break from work for a year or two. You find it like difficult getting back into that stream. But of course, like, with all the Almighty's blessings and everything, it just wanted to understand, sir. Maybe if it is if it is okay for you.
Yeah, I will briefly talk about it. It's a very, very long story, but I'll briefly talk
Sure.
about it. So
Thank
since childhood, I was obviously my parents, especially my mother, used to take me to temple like twice a day. So since childhood, I had always had a desire that I want to attain God in this birth, and therefore I got inspired to become a sadhu, a sannyasi. So I remained as a sannyasi for 14 years, and I was part of a bhakti sampradaya. So believing God to be in an image, in a temple, in a place of pilgrimage, or in an abode, millions of miles away from Earth. During my period as a sannyasi, because of the two enlightened souls, I realized through various discourses and incidents that I have to stop looking outside. Everything is within. So, and that journey started where I started meditating for many hours every day for many years. There were some incidents that happened which unfortunately made us leave. There were a few of us sannyasis which made us leave the organization. We did not want to go to any other organization because if you see all the things that happened in one organization, similar things would happen elsewhere. So that is why I came back. It did take me a very long while to adjust and settle back in life because after staying in an ashram for 14 years, where you are staying in a very sheltered environment, you even forget all the skills, even to fend for yourself, to earn for yourself, all those skills actually go away. So it took me some time to get back into the swing of things. And as Ravi Kiran mentioned earlier, I was doing a lot of visualization, manifestation, and then everything just materialized. But yeah, it's a very long story. But yeah, some other time I think would be appropriate.
Thank you. Thank you. I know you're an enlightened soul. So yeah, it's like quite nice. Like, and we are also very grateful, and we are blessed to have sessions like every day. It's like kind of like a wisdom. Like, I really don't want to miss. I know it's like all like a weekend and this long holiday, but I felt no, I have to come back and then listen to the session. So thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kavitaji, and hats off to your dedication and commitment. So much of sincerity and seriousness in your sadhana and in your practice. Great going. Yeah. Thank you. And as just to extend that, we need people like Dinesh sir in this, world, not somewhere in the ashram, right? So he needs to spread this to the world, right? So Patriji always said, right? So you don't need to go to Himalayas, or you don't need to just spend on you. Even once I asked this question to I went to a place called Pyramid Valley in the year 2014. I mean, I used to go even before that, but I went for some program. And there, one master I asked, like, I feel like spending my time only in meditation. I just wanted to meditate, and just like I said, like, okay, what do you do? Meditate. So what does it do for this world? It doesn't do anything. You at the max you will be enlightened, but will you be doing anything for the universe or this world? So it's better, yeah, you do the meditation, you do your regular works and everything, and do meditation, and then spread the word of meditation to the people, so that you will be helping the community. So, and such a great master like Dinesh sir, so we want him in this world, so that it can the meditation can go to masses, right? Yeah, thank you. Hope that makes sense. Okay, right. So if nobody has any questions, maybe we will do like 2 to 3 minutes of meditation together, and then we'll close. Yes, Dinesh, if you want to.
No, if you
Yes. Okay. Okay, friends. Let us meditate in silence. As we all know, the technique, the process, your entire body is relaxed from top of the head till tip of the toe. Very comfortable. Your entire awareness is completely on your breath. Be with your normal, natural breath. If there are any thoughts, do not keep any energy. Let them come and go. The moment you notice, cut them in a soft and gentle manner and come back to the breath. Let us continue this for next 2 minutes. Gently bring your awareness back to the body consciousness. Feel the body and feel the surroundings. Whenever you are ready, gently release your hands. Place them on your eyes for 5 seconds with a sense of gratitude to the meditation, to our Grandmaster Patriji, and to yourself. With a beautiful smile, gently open your eyes. Thank you, friends. Thank you for regularly joining the sessions and utilizing these wonderful wisdom sharings. And tomorrow we have a great master coming from Quantum Life University, Acharya Kiran Anumalashetty. So he's one of the greatest masters who realized his inner potential. Okay, so let us meet. Do not miss the session. Wherever you are, you can join. from the mobile or anywhere. So do not miss the wisdom. Listening in live, definitely it will have more impact than listening to the recordings. And you can ask if you have any other questions or any questions on that particular specific topic. So do not miss that opportunity. Please do join. Thank you. Thank you, Dinesh sir, once again. You are such a humble and modest person, always ready for any wisdom sharings on this platform. Keep coming and keep sharing to the UK masters. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.